Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing the weekly jab instead of the daily jab. So before we get into that, if you guys could smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I try to build my channel up here. So the weekly jab now. I was really dedicated to doing the daily jab, but I'll be straight with you, just not that much boxing news that's pertinent to anything came of it. So how do I say it? It just wasn't frequent enough to where I could carry a daily jab session. So I said, well, why not just do a weekly jab where I'll write down all the notes are the stories that I felt were relevant in boxing, and I can announce them, any news and all that kind of stuff, kind of a weekly news update kind of deal. So that's how I'm going to do it going forward and see where it goes. I'm going to try to do it, Monday, Tuesday of every week. I'm only doing it Thursday this week just because, for a couple reasons, but also, because at the beginning of the week, I just had too much stuff going on, but, and I was really contemplating and thinking about how I should do it, if I should switch it to a weekly update. So I am, I'm sure, you want to tell me to shut up about it already, but yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into all the news stories from this past week, but we're going to start off, of course, with the recap from Saturday's Showtime pay-per-view card. That's all Spence and Crawford. Real quick on the undercard, you had Tellez stopped, Sergio Garcia at 154-pound super welterweight, only his 6th professional fight. So impressive ass performance right there against a good fighter in Garcia, a good solid 154-pounder. So Tellez has made himself, put himself at the table. Big time 3rd round TKO victory over Sergio Garcia. Also on that card, Santiago went out there and upset and defeated Nonito Donaire to capture the vacant WBC bantamweight title at 118. He completely outworked them, kind of dominated the veteran, future Hall of Famer Donaire, scoring a convincing 12-round unanimous decision. So congrats to him. That was a big win right there. Looking forward to seeing what he does moving forward. Co-feature, Isaac Cruz or Isaac Cruz, whatever you want to call him, faced off against Giovanni Cabrera and, struggled with Cabrera. It was a good back and forth fight in the co-feature. I think a lot of people thought that Cruz was going to dominate because we really didn't know what Cabrera could bring to the table. And Cabrera boxed well. It was a good, hard-fought battle, but it ended up going to Cruz by a very close decision, as Cruz actually is now the #1 contender in the WBA and could be looking at a title shot with Gervonta Tank Davis at some point. But we don't know that for sure. That's just speculation. But the fact that he's ranked #1 by the WBA is very interesting to me now. And then the main event, Crawford and Spence, undisputed welterweight championship of the world. This was, in my opinion, the biggest fight of the last decade in boxing, in terms of deciding a true pound for pound fighter. Two of the very best fighters pound for pound in the world, but in maybe the best division, in the welterweight division. And Terence Crawford just put on an epic performance, a special historic performance, dominating Errol Spence Jr. and stopping him in the 9th round to become the undisputed welterweight champion of the world and to declare himself the pound for pound king of boxing. So that was huge. It was monumental. It was historic. And it was just a pleasure to be able to watch that. I was very surprised at the way Crawford was able to dominate Spence in that fight. I did a full recap of this whole card. I got more into detail. If you guys want to go check it out on, it's a separate video that's just dedicated to that card. And I get a lot more into detail on the main event and the other fights too. But let's take a look at some of the news from this past week in boxing that's been going on. So first off, Conor Benn Eddie Hearn is saying he wants him to return in September and then have a big fight in December. I'm thinking maybe Conor Benn on the Smith Eubank undercard and then fighting potentially the winner. That could be very, very possible. We'll see what happens. Likely going to be a tune-up bout, but we should know something this month if he is going to return. Also, United Kingdom news. Liam Davies, 122-pound contender, undefeated, defeated Ionut Baluta last year to get the biggest win of his career. He took on Jason Cunningham, the journeyman, and dominated him, stopping him in only 1 round impressively last week as he keeps his, star pointed north as he's trying to get himself into a title shot. And you know what? It might be at a perfect time because with the Inoue likely fighting Tapoulis for the undisputed title next, that's going to, once Inoue's done, he's probably going to vacate all the belts, and then a guy like Liam Davies could be sitting there in a prime position to fight for a world title. So very, very good performance against Cunningham as Davies was dominant and left no doubt. Another UK news thing that happened. You have Lee Wood, the WBA featherweight champion, versus Josh Warrington on October 7th on DAZN for the WBA title. The winner of this fight is mandated to defend against the undefeated mandatory challenger. The guy's 10-0 or 11-0 with 10 knockouts, something like that. That's a mandatory fight. But tying to this, Joe Cordina, the IBF super featherweight champ at 130, said he is very interested in fighting a winner of Wood and Warrington. So I really do believe the winner of Wood and Warrington could be going against a guy like Joe Cordina moving up in weight instead of fighting some kind of nobody who is a threat, in a mandatory fight. But the fact that Wood and Warrington is on October 7th it's an exciting matchup. It's a very even matchup in my opinion. Really could go either way. Very much looking forward to that showdown. I did an announcement video, so I get a little bit more into detail on it. Announcement and preview, so go check this one out. Go check that video out. Should be good. October 7th on DAZN. Other news. I'm going to stay UK news. Joshua Buatsi is going to fight Dan Aziz next in a WBA final eliminator. The winner will be in line to fight Dimitri Bivol. I believe that fight's taking place in October, so it should be good, between those two guys. They were rumored to be fighting. Now that's going to happen. Buatsi and Aziz with the winner to be in line for Bivol. So that's big news right there. Finally, out of the UK news, Artur Beterbiev, the undefeated unified light heavyweight champion of the world, came down with some kind of infection in his teeth, I think. I think he had something going on there. And the fight with Callum Smith has been postponed. They're saying he might not be able to return to defend against Smith until November now. So that sucked. That was some shitty news. Hopefully we hear within the next week or so an update on him, if he's okay and if he'll be able to return sooner or by the November goal. We'll see. And then Devin Haney, Regis Prograis. It looks like this fight is on for October 28th on DAZN. And I believe it's going to be on DAZN, excuse me. Hasn't been formally officially announced yet, but Devin Haney has already requested the WBC to allow him to defend his title against Prograis at 140 and keep his lightweight title intact, so he can make a decision if he were to become champ at 140. This is kind of an insurance plan by Haney. I don't blame him for doing it, especially if he sees other fights at 135, bigger fights, potentially a rematch with Loma, Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis, along those lines. But he's going to move up and fight Prograis, and that should be a big fight right there between these two. Very much so looking forward to it in October. I think it's a very good matchup. I will be doing a Is On video on this fight once it's formally announced. Tim Tszyu, the announcement was made that by the WBO came down with a ruling that interim champion Tim Tszyu is going to be upgraded to full champion when the fight starts between Jermell Charlo and Canelo Alvarez on September 30th. The WBO said that they're going to allow Charlo to hold on to the undisputed title until he enters the ring, or until he is formally announced as the undisputed champ at 154. They're going to allow the announcement to happen, and then after that, Charlo is going to be stripped, and Tszyu will be upgraded to champion, as Tszyu is the overdue mandatory challenger. So I kind of like that. I like that they're doing that for Tszyu. Charlo, you know, I would have taken Canelo too. You'd be stupid to pass on Canelo. That's a historic fight. But Tszyu is overdue for a mandatory shot, and I think he wants to just continue to pursue his career and be a champion and fight for the title, which he's deserved. So I get it, and I think the WBA, that was the right call. So Tim Tszyu will be upgraded to full champion on September 30th when that fight starts between Canelo and Jermell Charlo. And that's it. That's pretty much what I got, guys. Make sure you're checking out my videos. I have been doing shorts on them to kind of get more in your ear, let you know what the video is going to be about, so you guys can go check it out if you're interested. Make sure you do. I'm pumping them out as fast as I can, as much as I can, and my podcast is coming. I do apologize if you tuned in or tried to. I had a couple glitches, and then one of the guys that I do it with, last minute had to cancel, so we weren't able to get on. But we will be coming back at you with the podcast and talking about Crawford and Spence and everything that's happened, Inoue and Fulton. We will be getting to it. I do apologize for the cancellation, though. But that's it. That's what I got. That's my weekly jab. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.